My name is Babu Karse, welcoming you to another edition of The Viewpoint, coming to you on QTV. On this special edition, we're talking about, of course, the most talked about in the country recently. Well, away from the 3 years that everybody's talking about, the one thing really affecting Gambians is the issue of Gambians being deported back home. Joining me on the studio this, of course, day to talk about Gambians being deported back home is the Honorable Minister for Information, Communication Infrastructure, Honorable Ibrahim Silla, Government Spokesperson, Mr. Ibrahim Sankare. Of course, also joining me is the Commissioner responsible for migration, who is Northern for the Gassama, Abubakar Jah, Deputy Permanent Secretary, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Asan Tangara, who is the Permanent Secretary, the Ministry of Interior. Gentlemen, this is a fully loaded government delegation to talk about things that is really affecting us as Gambians. Welcome to the Viewpoint.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I'll start with you, Honorable, the senior person here. We're talking about Gambians being deported from Germany, for example. And the Gambia government is saying they've signed no agreement to accept these deportees back home. But if you sign no agreement, why are they coming home in dozens?
Thank you so much, Mr. Say. I mean, this is a very important question. Yes, we have seen, especially in the last 3 weeks, a group of young Gambians being deported, especially from Germany. And there are a lot of rumors and also issues trending in social media that Gambia government is aiding and abetting this deportation. But I want to make it categorically clear, as been clearly spelled out in the press release of the government spokesperson, that the Gambia government is neither aware of the deportation of these people, nor is it aiding and abetting. What is happening is that we all know that when President Jammeh was in power in this country, especially in the last 5 years, this country was like hell for a lot of people. I mean, there was repression. I mean, there was deliberate, violation of human rights. People were finding it difficult to get jobs in this country. And this, to some point, forced a lot of young people to flee this country. When they went to, Germany in particular, and also Spain and Italy, these people voluntarily declared that they were Gambians. And we know that during that time, the likelihood of you being granted asylum when you declared that you are Gambian, was really very high. And these people provided Gambian national documents. So the question of whether they were Gambians or not no longer arises, because when they first arrived in Europe, they already gave out openly their documents as Gambians. They were processed as Gambians. And part of the reasons why they say they were seeking asylum in Europe was because of the repressive political situation in the country. Now, in 2016, when we went to the polls and President Jammeh was defeated, of course, the main reason given for fleeing the country that led to their asylum cases being processed no longer, was the situation, because we had a democratic election and we have a new government now. The repression is no longer, happening in the country. So that automatically changed their situation. So most of them were affected, and then the third countries that processed their applications automatically, rejected these applications, unfortunately. And as a result, most of the people that we have had been deported have already exhausted all legal remedies. And we know that when you go through a process, you've exhausted the legal remedy. The final process is for you to leave the country. That's what they were told. But as a responsible government, when we came to be aware of this, we engaged the European government, because it is not the wish of this government to see these young people who have suffered so much. Their parents, their relatives, and their loved ones have sold all what they had and invested in them to leave the country. So they reach Europe. What they went there for, they did not get. So it is not our wish to see that they are returned back to the country. That is why we have started engaging most of these European countries to start a process of reintegrating these young people in their countries, where they are trained, unskilled, and they are provided the necessary support. So far, we can say this is happening. Okay, those that have the capacity to be reintegrated, the process is already on. And we want to assure the Gambian people that the issue of reintegration is something that this government has taken very seriously, and we are engaging our partners on that. So it is not true. We have neither sat with anybody to discuss the issue of repatriating our people back, nor have we accepted any offer from any country to have our citizens repatriated into the Gambia.
They are the people responsible to steer the affairs of this country, and anything that they say, of course, is on record, and we will definitely follow this matter. Honorable Minister, you talked about people that left this country because of the political situation of this country during the forced regime. But not all of them left for the political reasons. Some of them went financial reasons. And economic
the thing is, migration is a delicate issue. You may give us your fundamental reason for leaving the country as economic reason, for political reason. But we know that also, there is an economic, reason behind all this. It was extremely very difficult to stay in this country, no jobs. People were really frustrated, and they were denied. If you were identified as somebody who belongs to the opposition, you were denied all the opportunities of working in your own country. So as a result, of course, the best way where, how these people could survive was to go out, improve themselves, and then, have the opportunity of working in the countries where they've gone to, and then come back and then, reinvest that into in the country. But let me tell you, we are not afraid to be taking on what we are saying right now. These are verifiable facts. The records are there. Currently in Germany, we have supported the process of reintegrating about 210 Gambians. Remember, this is a huge figure. We are talking about 40,000 young Gambians in Italy alone, Spain, Germany, Austria, and other places. You put this together cumulatively, is a big number. So you don't expect that the problem will be resolved within a year or so. But we are committed to pursuing the diplomatic route, so that our partners, our allies, especially in the European countries, understand that it's a phenomenal problem that we have in this country. Youth unemployment is huge. Now, if you want to bring these young people from Europe en masse, back to the Gambia, then, that is a serious cause for concern. It has serious security implications.
And it's happening, because they are coming every month.
No. That is why we said, we are re-engaging now to see how we can, see that, this situation is resolved diplomatically, because it is important. It is the interest of the European government to see that our democracy is strengthened. And anything that will cause, mayhem in this country, I think, we'll all be careful and then not to, contribute to that. And that is why we are really committed to working with them to see that, we find a common solution to this problem.
I'll come back to you, Honorable Minister. Let me skip to the government spokesperson, Mr. Sankare. You've been on the headlines recently, the press release, and concerned Gambians are not happy with you. They call themselves concerned Gambians, and wanting to organize a protest in solidarity of Gambians that are deported. But with the release coming out, it's like they will not be granted. Why?
I think that allegation is false.
Okay.
The Gambia government recognizes the natural rights, the inalienable rights of every Gambian citizen to assemble, to protest, to demonstrate, and to speak out. So if that is the insinuation, is false. I think the press release was misconstrued. What the press release was saying was that this is our country. This country is so sacred. We just exited the clause of tyranny and dictatorship. The national security situation of this country is not as solid and as nimble as we want it. We are still working. You know that. That's why we still have economy. We still have bandits, in the periphery. When you organize a demonstration, you can control your crowd, but you don't know the resentment and the feelings that are in the environment. So these are all things that you have to bring into the political calculus. So it is the feeling of the Gambia government. Yes, they have a right to come together, to assemble, to demonstrate, to protest, but protest peacefully. Remember always at the back of your mind, this is Gambia. It's a country that should be so dear to you. The immigration issue, for your information, this is the second time you interviewed me. Last week, the same question he had answered, you asked the question, and I answered it. this question for me is very passionate. It's an emotional issue. Okay? I had my own son deported from America. President Adama Barrow, the president of the Republic of the Gambia, is a deportee from Germany. Today, he's the president of the Republic of the Gambia. So yes, there is the stigma, there is the feeling, but at the end of the day, there could be closure. To be deported is not a crime. What do you do as a human being? You have the creative ingenuity to transform your life, to transform your family. I know of many deportees who were my roommates in America. Today, they are okay. They probably have even regretted why they went to America. So let us also help as journalists, as carriers of information, that sometimes our own vocabulary could be lethal. It could spark, you know, irrelevant resentment. Personally, at a personal level, people everybody's listening, I'm sure. In America, for the past 22 years that I've lived there, my home was home away from most Gambians. They were lawyers, former Yaya Jammeh ministers, former Yaya Jammeh soldiers, permanent secretaries, across the spectrum. I have signed over 300 affidavits supporting Gambians to be granted asylum. And of all the people I have sought asylum for, none was ever denied. None. Likewise in Europe, in Israel, all over the world, using the Gambia Echo newspaper and using my own creative ingenuity. I am not a lawyer, but I understand this immigration system so much so that I was able to do what I could do to help. Unfortunately, there are so many things. It's a complex and very complicated matter. And the ramifications are overwhelming. For instance, when Yaya Jammeh came one day and declared unilaterally that he has abolished FGM, female genital mutilation, do you know how many Gambians got papers in England because of FGM? Tons and tons of Gambians. Because they knew it's a traditional society, Gambian women were genetically mutilated, what we call here female circumcision. Just with that pronouncement, so many Gambian women were denied access to asylum. And most of them had to be told to go home, because now in Gambia, women are no longer circumcised. Is that true? No, absolutely not. It's false. Today, you know, people are still doing it. Not openly as it were before, but it still happens. So sometimes when government make pronouncements, they've got to be careful the kind of communication they release. I'm a journalist. I like to write, I like to argue and talk, but I'm very careful what I say. Anytime I utter a statement, it is highly calculated.
That takes me back to the peaceful, to guard a peaceful gathering and stuff. Which is what they're saying. You're trying to deny them, the government, current government, for a peaceful gathering. To talk about things that they feel they are affected. If the government don't sign that agreement with any European country, why not allow them to gather and hear from them?
I have just underlined the circumstances.
Yeah, I'm taking you back to that.
Yeah, I know. Yes. That's what I'm saying. I have just elaborated the circumstances, underlined the allegation, and I told you the allegation is false. Government is not asking them not to demonstrate. Government called them. Even this afternoon, they had a meeting with the police department, and I think it was a very good meeting. We listened to them. The government listened to them, and they spoke well. The government spoke and explained their side. So both sides came together and agreed on a platform. This is our country. As a student in this country, I organized demonstrations against Jawara's government. So who am I now to be in a government that wouldn't allow demonstration? That is false.
Okay.
That is false. And the point of asylum I was saying is, it would be hypocritical for me, just last year, to be signing hundreds of affidavits for Gambians to be granted asylum, to come and join this government and want them to be deported. That is not me. Okay. That is far from the truth. This is, and you journalists and all of us Gambians, sometimes I think because the English language is not our mother tongue, we tend to call everybody a refugee. Not everybody who is being returned to this country is a refugee.
No way. No way.
And
yes.
you just underline that. I was trying to give you an educated guess about it. Some people applied for asylum. Some people married women, and they found out that their marriages were bogus marriages. Some people went and claimed they were gay and homosexual. They couldn't prove it. There are people who even claim to be Gambians, or thousands of them, from Guinea-Conakry, from Senegal, from Mali, because they knew Gambia had a tyrannical despot in this country. And only because of that, using our back door, our corridor, they would use their friends, they would get Gambian passports and go and claim to be Gambian citizens. He's an immigration officer, he can speak better to that. That has also happened. I have seen people in America coming to me to file for asylum claiming to be Gambians who could not speak Wolof, who could not speak Mandinka, who could not speak Fula. And they're Gambians.
And you help them?
How can I help somebody who has a forged document?
Okay.
I'm just trying to tell you the travesty of the whole system.
Okay.
Yes. So I think I'll
for now, I think that point is clear. Let me shift to Mr. Jah. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, of course, have come under attack recently. Not even recently, for the past, since this brouhaha came up about former Minister of Foreign Affairs signing an agreement with, Germany, Italy. You call it that, they are ready to accept Gambians because there's no more dictatorship in this country, and Gambians are ready to accept their citizens back home. You worked at the Foreign Affairs, I'm sure, for long. What would be your response to this?
Good afternoon. Well, I'm very glad to hear this from you, but the answer to this is no. There is no signature, no signing of agreement between us and the Germans in terms of deportation, bringing our citizens back. On the contrary, the Foreign Affairs, since the Office of the President orchestrated calling us for a meeting, looking at the current situation about this repatriation, deportation, and the problems it's causing on the ground here, that something's going to be done about it. I was fortunate to be in that meeting, and the spokesperson was there, and I think few other, my brother was also there. And the intention is to spew it out to the public for them to know what this government is doing all about this. And from that meeting, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs also engaged its partners, bilaterally. One of them is the German what's it called, embassy in Senegal. We wrote to them, inviting them for the independent anniversary, 54th independent anniversary. On the emergence of it, we discussed issues about this, how we can come to common understanding, so that at least the problem that is existing in Germany with the tension of our citizens there and the tension on the ground can be diffused. On the same light, we contacted our European partners. We also summoned in the European ambassador. We had a discussion with him and made it clear the government's position about the entire deportation situation, which we are not happy about. As you said, you heard the Honorable Minister talked about and the spokesperson, and I'm also reiterating the same thing. The Foreign Affairs, their position is very clear. We work with our partners quietly, diplomatically, and tell them where the position of the government stands. We sent a note verbal shortly after that discussion. The moratorium you're hearing about, it is us who sent the letter to say that we don't want to have any more deportations for now, until we discuss within ourselves, discuss modalities, how they should be done.
When was this sent?
This was sent about, I think, a week and a half or so ago. And because of this note verbal that has been sent, it warranted for Germany to send a delegation here. Today, as I speak of you, in fact, I came from that meeting. We had a meeting with the German delegation to discuss what we're going to do, in terms of what they intend the number they intend to deport to the Gambia. And from here, we visited also the Office of the Vice President, because as we hear things on social media, as my brother just talked about the allegations, there is no such evidence to that. There is no evidence whatsoever. The Germans themselves repeated this, that we have never signed any document with the Gambia government agreeing, for example, to some will say they've paid money to the Gambia government. There is no information whatsoever. They've categorically denied that, and so is Gambia. And when we went back to Office of the Vice President, this was reiterated. Even the Vice President himself said so. Where did they get this information from? So as far as we are concerned, we're still engaging partners, and I'm even, I got another information from the British as well. They also want to come to discuss with us. Why? Because we've sent a signal to say, yes, we know you want to take our people from your country. For whatever reason, we need to look at this. Why is the reason? And then how do you want to send them in? And I asked them, you send them back to Gambia? Okay, fine. They are citizens. Make no mistake about that. We love them, and no one can develop this country but them. But if they're coming back to the Gambia, coming back to what? So we're discussing how they can be able to assist us to assist them. And that's why we have platforms on the ground, which you call YEP and IOM. But we want to have further platforms on the ground where people can be empowered. People who return back home want to get engaged into small and medium-sized enterprises or other social projects to keep themselves busy and become productive for themselves and for country. This is what we are doing. But we are doing it quietly because we don't make too much noise. And because we don't make too much noise, people think government is not doing anything about it. But there is a lot that people don't know about. And I think this is the first apparition for us to sit and talk to people about it because of the intensity of the situation on the ground.
Are you confirming to us that you have sent letters to these countries to stop the deportation?
Oh, we have sent an envoy. In fact, it was so funny how the social media and the media at large work, because I was in the office until almost about nearly 5 p.m. getting towards 6. And I looked at the NV, finished, and then instruct my staff upon my superior's instruction, released the NV. Before I reached home, I got from our WhatsApp group, our senior management WhatsApp group, somebody already produced it in the newspaper. Say closer sources from the foreign ministry. Which closer sources from the ministry says that they put a moratorium. How does it happen? But yes, the letter has been sent, but they picked it up. And then obviously, like I said, that's one of the reasons why we are having this sort of responses from the European side, wanting to come to meet with us to discuss. But they mean also no harm. They want to positively discuss with us to see how they can assist us. However, it is their country, as they rightly said. If you haven't got the required documentation, required papers for you to stay in a foreign country, they want you out. Just like in the Gambia here, we have foreigners here, a lot of them, and we ask them to get papers here to work here. You know, but if they don't have papers, and you have some who might violate our laws of the land, or become violent, or become even problematic, we will have no choice but to ask them to go back home. You know, so this is a natural thing. But the manner in which it is done, we felt that it was too much, because we have so many flights coming, and you know, we don't know the profile of some of these people coming back. You know, are they refugees? Are they asylum seekers? Are they, you know, convicted criminals? We don't know. So we need to have clear information about these things. So that's why we say, hello, stop for the time being. Let's look at the entire situation back again and see how we can address this together.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jah. Let me just turn to Mr. Gassama. I end up with Tangara. Mr. Gassama, first of all, how will you respond to claims that, you know, immigration officers were sent to Italy, you know, to be monitoring Gambians there and set them packing for deportation?
Thank you very much, Mr. Say. I think this question was asked me this morning at the RTS.
Oh, really?
And the answer is the same. That is not true. That is...
from the last regime to this regime?
From the last regime to this regime. No immigration officer was sent to Germany to fish out anybody for deportation. That is obviously not true. We have our immigration officers attached to the Gambian consular in Italy to perform consular duties.
Okay.
Every embassy in the world you go to, you know, you find that immigration officers are actually in those embassies to do consular job, and that's the exact job that immigration officers are doing there. You know, facilitate people for their documentation. Like I said, there are thousands of Gambians in Italy, you know, and most of them are undocumented. Sometimes, you know, the minister and the spokesman have said it. You know, people are accepted to be integrated in those societies, but they cannot do so if they are not documented. So these immigration officers working with our Gambian consular, who is not a Gambian, is an honorary citizen of Italy. He doesn't know the people. You know, he doesn't know the people of the Gambia that much. You know, so there must be somebody to assist him do this job. So those immigration officers are attached to those consular to perform those duties. And through their intervention, many of our citizens were helped to reintegrate into Italian society. Those who are qualified, those Italians think they are qualified to be integrated, you know, pass through these consular officers, and their documentations are processed, and they are helped, given advices, you know, so that they can properly, you know, go for those integration processes. So that is what is happening. But the fact that immigration officers are there to look out for citizens to deport them, that's not true. That's something that is obviously not true.
When you receive them at the airport, most of them, no, not all of them are Gambians. We have other nationals that, you know, like the last flight that came, we have some Nigerians there. What do you do with these foreign nationals?
You know, well, these are normally, you would understand that these flights are Frontex flights, most of them. They are not specifically, you know, coming to Gambia alone. So on the flight, you'll find out there are other nationalities in the flight. So from here, they proceed to those countries. They are not coming down. They are not disembarking in Banjul. The people that are disembarking in Gambia are the presumed Gambians. So upon arrival, we do our screening. If you are a Gambian, we accept you. If not, if you are not a Gambian, like the minister said, many people have also claimed to be Gambians, seeking their asylums in Europe. And sometimes they are failed, and they are presumed to be that, because they are presumed to be Gambian, they try to bring them back to the Gambia. So when we realize that, we don't accept them. We only accept Gambians. Okay. So that is our function. Okay. And we register them. And there is a whole lot of process that follows that. Because there's a reintegration program that is going on in the Gambia, you know, being implemented by the IOM, and also alongside the government of the Gambia, the lead ministry that works in this, the Ministry of Interior. So when we leave them, there's a lot of post-arrival activities that are done Normally, it's guidance and counseling that we give them first, because we know these people there. The fact that you are deported, that is stress on your mind. We give you post-arrival counseling, and giving a cash grant from the project, an equivalent of 60 euro, that you are able to go home, and also an appointment card. This appointment card enables you to come back to us, to IOM, and discuss with them one-on-one. And you get to tell them what kind of program that you want to do, what kind of reintegration system that you want. Others go for vocational training, others go for poultry farming, others go. The minister said there are a lot of success stories. You will understand that there are two categories. One is those people that are voluntarily coming from Libya. These are assisted by the project to come back home because they are in danger. Most of them are incarcerated in detention centers that are not government controlled. So they express interest to come back, for them to be saved. Over 4,000 of them came back from Italy, from Libya and Niger alone, from 2017 to date. Out of this, the project was able to integrate over 2,000 of them. And also that these flights that are coming from there, also that they have increased. The IOM also is extending that reintegration to those people that are coming from Europe. So over 100 or 200 of them have also been successfully integrated, and about 100 the process is on for about 100 plus. So there is a lot also that is being done for them when they come back home. They are not just received, because I'm part of the reception committee for that project. Our institution is part of the reception committee. Other institutions are part of the reintegration committee. So you see, there is a network of institutions that are helping, that are all coming together and helping these people when they come back home.
Thank you very much. Let me know with Mr. Tangara. The work of the interior, let me say the police, have escalated now with a lot of crimes rate, within our society. Recently, there's alleged of a deportee who killed 2 people at Tanka. Don't you think this is causing, your office more job to do? Bringing in these people frustrated and.
No, really. Okay, as the job of our mandate as the Minister of Interior, we have an oversight responsibility. The police and the immigration are the technicians. The work you are talking about, yes, it's a concern for us when there is so much, as you rightly pointed out, crime going up. But I think particularly we are talking about deportees here. Yes, and somebody who's alleged to, it's now we are in the process. It's alleged.
Alleged,
yes, alleged to at least to more than 2 people. The police are doing the investigations, and at the moment maybe the due course will be followed. But as you rightly pointed out, as a ministry, we are also concerned. The job, as you rightly pointed out, is also it's a challenge to the police that crime is alleged to be going up. They are reporting, that's why nothing has been hidden now. Yes. But if we are talking about now the deportees, I think that's why we are here, isn't it? As a ministry, when we feel there's a threat to national security, we will engage partners. In this case, what we did, we engaged our partners like the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Communication, so that at least we will at least come with a common position. That's what we were doing since 2 or 3 weeks ago, that having regular meetings with our partners. We didn't stop there. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, the minister that is responsible is to engage our partners outside. With the frequency and the manners of the deportation, what we did, that OP initiated the first meeting, then other meetings were followed. The meeting Dr. Jai is talking about, we were in those meetings. The German, when he was invited, the deputy ambassador, we were in that meeting. We expressed our concern as a country and as a ministry, because national security, when there's a threat to national security, that the ministry will have to come in. So that's the reason why I think we are here today, and just to give our side of the story.
Okay. Okay, I think that is kind of spread out. Let me come back to the Honorable Minister of Information. I mean, Mr. Jaff made it very clear that they've written a letter to these governments to hold on, whilst you engage them on negotiation. But the already ones that have been deported, are we ready to accept them as a country that, or a government that was crying of inheriting, a bankrupt government, everything went helter-skelter? Are we ready to accept these people, you know, and the reintegration we're talking about, you know, you will agree with me that more needs to be done. It's not enough. Definitely not enough in a country that cannot even provide.
It's not even a question of are we ready. These are our own Gambians. We cannot, you know, just reject our people. I wish we had the power to stop our allies from returning.
Other countries are saying no. Other countries are saying no. Recently, I read Afghanistan's, you know, the flight that landed and they took them back to say no, we will not accept them. Why not engage the government, those governments, to say hold on?
But remember, Afghanistan's situation was different. I mean, most of those countries left Afghanistan during the civil war. They went and settled in Pakistan, and then they were, you know, supported to migrate from Pakistan to many of these European countries through a regular process of migration. Now they resettle in those communities, and because the situation now in Afghanistan have changed and they have started discussing with Taliban, then their migration situation has changed, of course. So they brought them back, but most of those people already were accepted in the countries with condition that, you know, they would be, you know, returned when the situation improved. But they did not leave Afghanistan directly and then went to Europe, and then, you know, so it is a completely different.
My point is,
let me just clarify, because I think just to, I mean, you know, buttress what Sankara said here. The language that we use here should be very much contextualized so that we don't, you know, fan this situation. This is something that we are worried. President Adama Barrow is worried about this. He has relatives, close relatives, whose children, you know, went through this system. My own brother, the same mother and father, our last born, you know, went through this thing. My big sister, the same mom and dad, her kids went through this. My big brother, the same dad, you know, they went through this thing. There is no Gambian in this country who can tell you that he or she does not have a relative, you know, that, you know, did not go through this back way. The vice president, either somebody that he brought up or a brother's, I mean, a son, you know, died even on the way. I remember on a forum that I was, and we even, you know, sent our condolences when he was in jail, you know, in 2016. So this is a vexed issue. We have to treat it with the sensitivity it deserves. You know, it is not the wish of this government to see that young people are returned. Those that have been returned, as you said, they are Gambians, and they will be given the necessary support. That is why we said there is this International Office for Migration, IOM, you know, project that actually support young people. We have seen more than 2,000 young Gambians who either voluntarily returned or they were returned back even during Yahya Jammeh's time that benefited from this project. Some of them have poultry projects, some of them have sheep fattening projects, some of them have, you know, I mean, shops that, you know, were open for them. Some of them have welding, you know, workshops and other things, you know. But we said that in itself is not enough. Okay, right. What is important for us is to see that our people that are in Europe are supported diplomatically, and then, you know, we are doing that. You know, diplomacy sometimes can be funny. You don't want to go to the media sometimes and say everything because, you know, they are premature. We are discussing and we have engaged, and the governments in those countries are listening. It is also in their interest to see that we have a stable, you know, country, you know, and our democracy is sustained. We have to be very careful that we don't fan this situation and blow it out of proportion to the point that, you know, it will be difficult to manage it. Migration anywhere is a very complex thing. And most of these people, remember, their parents have spent so much on them. Our women, they have sold their jewelry. People have sold their land. Some of the places where you go to, in fact, they have sold their animals. Just with the hope that when their people, when their children go to Europe, they'll be able to support them. True. You think, you know, we'll play with that type of thing as a joke and then allow those people just to be reported en masse? No. No. Remember, more than 20% of our GDP is coming from remittances. Support from the diaspora. So we want to see a robust, strong diaspora. It is our wish that we see these people supported so that they can be, trained and they can be skilled and then reintegrated in those societies so that they can contribute to the huge remittance that we are expecting. That is why this government has even chosen the diaspora as the 7th region of the country, or as the 8th region of the country. So, Mr. Say, as journalists, I just want to re-emphasize what the spokesperson has admonished you. We have to be very careful, please. This is a very, very, very serious issue. We are not playing with this matter. We are not joking with it. It's a very serious national security issue for us, and we recognize that our people are in a dire situation. We should not play politics with it. We are serious about supporting them, and we are doing that. Serious discussions are going on, and we want to see that there is a calculated, cautious attempt in resolving this matter.
Apart from the YEP and IOM, as you rightly mentioned, does government have any other plans of opening other areas of reintegration? I'll come
Development
to you
is an ongoing process. You cannot resolve a 22-year problem in just 2 years. It is not possible. But what we can do is to improve on our support services to ensure that those that are here are fully integrated, are fully supported economically and socially. And remember, it's not only even about giving them jobs or giving them support. It is also about counseling. Remember, these are people who have seen anything you can think of. They have seen other people dying. They have seen the rough seas. They have seen people being killed in front of them. They have seen people being tortured. Some of them were even tortured. Some of them went through horrific, things that you can ever imagine. Now, those people, when they did not get anything, you return them back. The psychology in itself, it's a serious trauma. So providing them the necessary counseling so that they can fully settle down is also very important. That dimension, government is also fully, supporting that. And that is why I think, we've been told that the immigration department is even trying to set up centers so that when these people come, you don't only just receive them and then, send them to their community. No, you want to, put them in a special facility, hotel type where you counsel them, you reorient them, you tell, you talk to them, you understand the situation that they are in, and then, you fully, understand their situation, then give them the options so that, when you are going back, you are not only giving the economic support, but, you are fully prepared as a human being. Really, it's a very difficult situation that we have inherited, but remember, this is not our making. This was a deliberate ploy by the government then. It was a deliberate human trafficking scheme, a scandal that was perpetuated by the government. You have seen that, in this country, buses were lined up all over in Banjul. People were being carted from this country, transported through Niger, and then, handed over to human traffickers.
But that was not
facilitated.
the
No, remember, please.
Was that the government?
Of course, any responsible government would not have allowed that to happen in your country. You have seen human traffickers taking your young people, taking them through this dangerous journey. Okay. Something could have been done about it. In fact, people were interviewed by Al Jazeera in this country, who accepted that they were, part of a human, traffic racketeering group. So this is a situation that we have inherited. And then, we are doing something about it. They are our own people. We don't want to see a single Gambian suffer in this country. Much more those who have done so much for themselves, they left this country, and to see them return back as if they are no human beings is something that pains us as a government. But we also have to be careful. Then let us not over-politicize this thing. This is something that is affecting everybody. We, the journalists, should be very careful the way we are doing this thing. Because people are saying as if nothing is happening. And you don't want to even go to government to get the facts.
We engage in government.
No, but
maybe we want to talk about the EU grants that have been coming.
No, but you know that those grants are not specifically because, we have signed something for migrants to come back to this country. You are talking as if, we are getting grants and then migrants will come. No. Even the monies that are given to the government, for the support of, the people who have returned, it's not coming to government directly. These are projects given to our partners. And as a government, we are working with them to see that the right mechanisms are done. Okay. Anyone who understands project implementation will tell you that EU has been supporting this country since time immemorial. So that those traditional supports are continuing, but not because, you are having young people in Germany, in Italy, in Spain, so they have to come back and then we are giving you projects. We are a sovereign country, for God's sake. We will not allow that. we should also understand that the sovereignty of this country is very supreme and is dear to President Adama Barrow and his government. That is why we are engaging the European countries. But if journalists are reporting as if, oh yes, government, you are signing projects, and they are, you are accepting
Maybe
people.
that is also because government are signing and not telling us exactly what they are signing. I will come to you, back to you, Honorable Minister. Let me engage Mr. Jah. You said you will engage these European countries. If asked them to hold on, you will engage them. How long will this take? And what are your priorities as a minister?
I told you the engagement is ongoing, Mr. Say.
Honorable Minister, yes, it is going. I want to know how long will it take, and what are the key areas that you are going to point out as far as engaging these European countries are concerned.
The process is on. We initiated with the Germans, and they are on the ground. I don't want to say much, but I know we are coming to a common. In fact, we have come to a common understanding in brackets, and they would be assisting the returnees a lot. There is a lot of things.
The current returnees.
Yeah, the current returnees and the potential ones as well. Because as far as I'll tell you the potential one, because this you cannot stop. Like we explained before, there are the Excellency has explained there are people who applied for asylum in the previous government. And what necessitated for them to leave here, they're supposed to be political in nature. Now, if that atmosphere is no longer there, the authorities in Germany also are under pressure because they also have political wings that are against this, having foreign citizens, not Gambians alone, but foreign citizens in their country per se, and they want them to leave if they don't have their papers. So they're also under duress, as we are under duress. So we engage in them to come to a common ground. They have more muscle than us, more success stories to tell than us. We are a fledgling democracy, and we are a very young economy as well. So we are dealing with them to assist us, to assist our people. And I think that is already taking place. They are the initiatives. Now we have the others as well that we are looking at, because when we finished the meeting today, like I was telling my brother, as I reached office, we got another information that the British also want to come to discuss with us. So this is all good, because when they come to discuss with us, then we also have our own priorities that we can put before them. This is how we want you to help us to help our people. That is also there.
How do we want them to help us?
Oh no, that's within us for the technocrats to sit down and discuss.
It's still on the secret? But maybe Gambians would love to know what exactly do they have for
what government. I think I can talk on policy issue here. For government, the priority is those that are there, train them. Train them there, build their capacities there, and reintegrate them in the society. Because we know that there are critical skills shortage in some of those countries, especially in the areas of construction, in the areas of carpentry and other things. So most of these young people, they are in need of those kinds of skills, and then they will be skilled, and then they will, our wish, and this is the important point of our negotiation with any country. Train these people there. I mean, they are not criminals. They are human beings. They are good people, good boys and girls. A situation forced them out of this country. Now that, we have a democracy, we cannot cope with the expected return of these people here, because first, we are dealing with an economy that was like broken, completely destroyed. So now we are rebuilding. Help us to rebuild by ensuring that these people are fully integrated in your country, give them the necessary capacity, and skills training, and then, absorb them. They will be good citizens, they will contribute effectively to the economies of those countries, and then they will also contribute to the overall economic development of the Gambia. This is our agenda. And this is the policy orientation of our negotiation with any country. Isn't it, Mr. Spokesperson?
Perfectly. Yeah. I would definitely come to him later. Mr. Jahi, want to take it from there?
If I may continue on that. Yes, I mean, like I said, the government is doing a lot, and this is just like I explained. And as before coming here, we also have, the Europeans, they have their own, plans as well as far as deportations are concerned. And I understand that there were 2 other flights they were going to send, and we said no, for the time being, put it on hold. So we are dealing with our partners. We've written out letters. We are sending a generic NV today to all the other partners to say, put it on hold until we come to a common understanding on how you can help us help our people. Now, this help can be multifaceted. Like I said, we cannot tell now, but the training that the Honorable Minister has been talking about in the countries of where they should be coming from, we've also discussed training on the ground here to set up facilities where people can, because make no mistake about it, our young people are the one who can help us change this country. So when they have the skills, the education, and you know, the financial muscle, they can help change this country. So we are very interested as a government to help these people. Let it not be misunderstood at any level whatsoever. Government is working hand in glove to ensure that our citizens are helped, and if they are to be repatriated, it must come with certain benefits. But there are other things that they can go into. If they are trained and developed, now we've seen a career path that they can follow. For example, he said, somebody who is a metal worker or woodworker or want to go into fish farming, you bring out a project proposal that makes sense to the people like, for example, YEP and to yourself. They're willing to support you financially. There are what you call projects that are funded up to $400,000. This is not small money, you know, for a person who came from Germany or from Italy or from Austria for that matter. This you wouldn't have got the chance there. But in the Gambia, you have an opportunity to get this, to create employment for self and for others, and the economy also to gain therefrom. That's what I wanted to add on.
Unfortunately, we are running out of time. I'll come back to you, Mr. Sankara. You've been the mouthpiece between the citizenry and the government. You know, again, I want us to go into the local language, but quickly, you know, the issue of the demonstration, as you rightly put it, you know, again, to send that message to the public that government is not denying people from protesting, but again, the rules and regulations should be followed.
Government is not denying, and necessarily government cannot deny because it's a constitutional right. Government is just cautioning citizens that given the fluid political situation, we're just exiting out of a tyrannical state. Sometimes it is good to take time, you know. Adama Barrow is not a magician. He doesn't have magic solutions to political problems. This is our country is so dear to us. Let us take it easy. Slowly but certainly we'll get there. We're not asking anybody that we're going to seize your rights. No, that's not what we fought for. It will be a travesty of justice if this government is trampling on the rights of citizens. And honestly, that is not what is happening. In fact, you ask a question to this man, Mr. Tangara, my friend, about the burden that the police are facing. It is true, but I think they have a lesser burden. Now, the criminality they're having is only among common citizens. Yesterday, the criminality was perpetuated by the state. In this country, people were disappeared en masse. Women were raped. School children were liquidated in this country. Paramilitary troops, soldiers were like madmen in this country.
Gambians came out to take that away from.
Well, it was perpetuated for 22 years. Yeah. 22 years, a disease that took a country 22 years is not a disease that you are going to cure in 2 years. In 22 years, 2 years you have 20 more years, 2 decades of tyrannical despotism in this country. And I'm appalled, really. I'm shocked to hear you being apologetic that Yahya Jammeh was not complicit in the ferrying of people across the Sahara. Yes, he was.
I didn't say that. I was asking a question. Point of correction. I was asking a question.
No, you didn't say that emphatically.
Was the government really responsible for that?
Yeah, but you were a little bit defensive, and you were.
No,
you didn't say that. No, you didn't say that. But you insinuated. You insinuated. You know, both innuendo and insinuation. You were actually you were doubting the veracity of the fact.
No,
and the fact of the matter is that
governments were taken here to Libya or to Mali. Was the government really responsible for that? Was Yahya Jammeh's government really responsible for that?
Yahya Jammeh's government, Yahya Jammeh himself was paying money for people from this country, sending them to Europe, only on tribal reasons. I know it for it to be a fact.
Okay, that is news to me, right? Okay.
I know that to be a fact.
Okay.
I even know of a person who is right now in England, whose asylum has been denied. His lawyers contacted me to write his affidavit. Yahya Jammeh sent him there, and he was a sports teacher. And he had no business to send him there. And he gave him $50,000 US.
What are you going to do now?
What am I going to do?
All right. Before we take a leave of you, beautiful viewers, Mr. Honorable Minister, I just want us to go to the local languages quickly.
Yeah, okay. I mean, for la Gambian call here, surtout Alfalu, and in Gambia Dingul. Mini alonko.
Follow Alto Mandiade. Ko altelle signero ke bu jamanu Gambian
nkana wala seneyandi. Nkana wala seneyandi Gambian call la. Nyimman sakunda neneni moman si, neneni moman ku kacha. Andu neneni moman fen sign pour ka ko Gambia dingol min beto abdu ke murundina anim aman soto
bare ibna kalat
mbatu do min mu toñati wolo nyinti sanji mu wani lulu maralo sanji mu wani fula maralo mi yalon ko bota kono wo man sakunda kono mol batata jambake mol dewta jang atina funding ke jama tata wo tembo ni ko mu Gambian kolti ni futata tubabo la banko kan ni ko asylum mol dundi parka politiko la koleala tinne borta Gambia la ibikela asylum mori hanna tara ya reject ibika hani ke murundinam yaji andu mol min betata wol be contante la pour kay tandi ko tol mu Gambia dingol leti yala passeport wol dila ya foti babo le tol bota Gambia le politique wala problème wala tinne borte nata e dunta la bankol kan unfortunately 2016 ntata election wala wo man sakunda mi yo tilimbali al kelo man sakunda boyta okay kabiro man sakunda boyta e tolle dalilo mi andun asalo mo dun ni ba fole kuma folo min fo e kala wala e ka wala safe sa ye kumol min fo ko mi yatinne wudayta bankola wo ko falenta yaje kabiro wo ko falinta nyimman sakunda sita baye ko ba demokrasi balla banko kay lafta kam mol murundi nan a jurmo ba ye samba kiti yalla ya samba ko bele yaje ko e kumo min ko say wo man tarira banko kan kabiro wo kabe kala nyimman sakunda momin nata na tara fa ngamire min murundi nan dia ko yaka bonan jamani atara fa mo kemenin feng kabin tol ngo woje ngo jiber nyanta jele kala nyin ko walal alnga sibang nalnga kacha parce que na dingol min wudayta nyim banko kanjang mol min ya ibota suwol min kono foar suwol lamu doli yela ken wala wafu muso doli yela oro le wafu doli yela bengol le wafu doli fango ye itata ye julol le ta pour ka je nyim na nyim dingol ye finti ta nte min kan teje sirin jante mbakilin fakilin dola doko la bango abe yol mol kono le president baro badin kono tol be nyim mol kono le Ousseynou Dabo fa dinnom fo akoto din wala ala couleur din 2016 wo wuday tele fa fata silo kan wato Ousseynou fa be kasoto so fote amiram tolbe kontanal kaaje ko nyim mole nana ke murundi na wo nyam alanga hakilo tumbe min fo kan nyim kuleti mi yalam ka Gambia belema wala nan tolla man sakunda sitan ko alanga jibe bang mbe nyim ko sambala nyami na fondin kel min be nyim dulata nin na formusol min bi je ngi singa kacha yaje ko ye do ko di ye mechol di laji ye karandi ni e karandi ba momi ye mecho sota e do ko no ala mecho se seneatal anda yela kan moy ista ye ta do ko la hanna tare be sanji sabale dile la wala sanji nana al do ko ke fa sanji nana nale allo sanji nano bang al samuru nan la banko kan wobe m kuleti mi ya lon ko mbaka cha kan ntol nim tubab du banku nena man si banku nena man butu di Gambia la ka fa ko pour alla banku dingole na murun nan janga man soto andu jama tubab du bankol bela nyaton ko mimbe siri nyim banko kan jang al fanga ya jele nyil lokun tambila ni atul journalist le interview ay ko endi fa ko ita law ko tol man butu di Gambia la ka fa ko pour Gambia dingol murun nan jang nyin jaman man sakunda ila foreign ministry bunda mol fele nata be banko kan ya ko endi law iko tol nena man bututo di Gambia la pour Gambia wota kaje ko nga Gambia man sakunda duko pour yela dingol murundi nan anena man soto ko se du nyaawnya alnga ta foni asa kole ya nyaawnya alnga to nya fa nyoy baratul journalist ol min fana be nyindi amola ni radio ni television alnga hakilo to say because alka kumol fa nyamin aka moli hakilo dundi aka mol hakilo wiswasa baki andu journalist lo do ku follow min to wolam ka ko senende molla ni to kumo senende lano amman ko yilay de wala eta government na man sakunda bundal to ko mo nyini ka wala bulu nga senen dilan to bo do ko wala jang
wato le mol solo ni wonto de mbe afla nga mun jemba wala fokan ko pleno minu be nala ka gamme
so mur pleno bi akan dalilo mi wala sambane nyanta wo fana ko nyini ka lali isa ja senela aman ke journalist lo do ko di talo do prédateur be ko mo fala e ko mo doje afu wo man ke toñati toña do fanga bije fanga wo man ke banko la kayroti
bare masakuna ba lore ndami wala ndiko
masakunda be lore wala kam man kodita andunte kodita la mobulu andun ni mo man sika kodita okay ndolbe min ke la wala nyinti ko ninni momo be kacala na fondin kel la nafa ani nyim banko la kayro ndolbe lola wala kam nyim man sakunda nata wala kam man na pour que banko dingol tora
abaraka bake honorable minister wato banta Mr Sankare luma def rek bayla ci kalama olo ci ñaari minute parce que time bi jëna tak tay waxtaan mi lu ko waral moy Gambians yo xamanteni di len delo ci biir réew mi fi ñu bari ñi ngay complain ne government bi dañ len fay xaalis wala dañ len dukku pour ngeen accept Gambians ni té leen dekay nekk ñu ko def lo am pour tontu ci lolu ci lu gatt
wa jërëjëf waxtaan bi rafet na té bugana programme yi melni ñu ko am waxtu bu nekk pour été doomi réew bi ko poli dañ dee wax ne andu sa andi andin ñu ne utal xam-xam soo amee xamle la nit ki soo ko bëggut sax bul wax lu nekkul jikko addina bi yëpp xam nañ ne Lawyer Darboe lawyer la lawyer dëggantaam la lawyer bu mel ne Lawyer Darboe mu nekk Gambia Minister of Foreign Affairs kooku foo nga ne na dem Germany di jël bribe xaalis si ay tubaab pour ñu indi ay doomi réewam ñuy toskare ñaar fukki at ak ñaar Lawyer Darboe mu ngi ut réew bi pour mu nekk président mu ngi am dictateur bu toog fii di rey ay nit moom si boppam mos na si kooku doomi réewam yoo xam ne ñu ngi si diaspora bi ñoom ñoo doon support fii ndende yi li ñoo tega fii yëpp sabarkat yi tam ñu ngi woon bitim réew lii moo tax Ministry of Foreign Affairs dañ fonka dis diaspora fonka boo xam ne right now suma collègue xam na ne ñoom ñu ngi am léegi Office of Diaspora Affairs du yàgga di nga déggal loi bu ees boo xam ne dañoo am office boo xam ne liggéeyam rek moo nekk pour deal ak gars yi nekk si diaspora
si ñëw leen dara
kenn amul kenn ku nekk si Gambia government kuy liggéey si onda Adama Barrow koo xam ne jël na xaalis si loxo tubaab pour ñu indi doomi réewam
lu tax plane di wàcc si Gambia
waaw baaral ma rek léegi-léeg soo xamul baax na ngay laajte di leeral journaliste warut a farfarlu.
non waaye sa sagar li du mbiru journaliste li wax boo xamante ne askan ngaa ko nekk di wax.
waaw
yow moo xam ne yow lañ denk di jiite.
moo tax ma
la koy laajte pour nga leeral ko. waaye bu ñu journaliste
déedéet man si suma ba journaliste la.
baax na daal lu askan gi lu ñoo laam-laamee ñun loolu la ñuy wax. ngeen si leeral
waaye 2 minutes nga ma jox soo maa ngi paree wax soo waxee nag wax bi dafaa jël.
ok waaw baax na
plane yi jógee bitim réew yi ñëw. nit ñi ñoo indi doomi Gambian lañ di woo deportation lan la tekki si angale moo nekk delloo nit ki réewam nit ki nag sëñ bi sa doom mu ngi kiram mu nekk kiram fukki at mu jékki-jékki mu ne sa doom bi jël ko bëggatuma koo jël sa doom boo jur mun nga ko forcer pour mu yore ko même te loo mun a def nga négocier nga ne ko baal ma dama niw doole suma doom bu mu fi jógee léegi jikko tubaab la amee yu bari wecceeku nañ nga naxantee borom ndanka ba nga seet ndax na la mun a baalal mu jël sa doom bi waaye pour forcer ak saaga ndey ak yaxa deri nit loolu du tax deportation bi stop deportation bi maslaha moo koy doxal ak yar ak teggin bugga sa réew ñuñ waxuñ kenn bu mu démonstrate ñuñ dañ xeex nit ñi xeex fii pour nit ñi am seen right man du ma doon nelaw bés bu nekk ma ngi si computer di xas Yaya Jammeh pour Yaya Jammeh génn fi soo mën naa ñëw di liggéeyal nguur man maay encourage nguur googu pour ñu not keneen déedéet loolu mënut a am loolu amut kenn jëlul xaalis musu ñoo dugg kenn Adama Barrow musu da jël xaalis te Gambien ni nañ gëm ne Adama Barrow mooy seen président te Adama Barrow dañ ko deport mu ñëw fii mu fas jom mu try bi nekk président kooku su waree nekk président Adama Barrow ut na visa pour dem America 7 times ñu ngi ko dinaay 7 times Adama Barrow mii sa président su dee ne li ma wax damaa fen ëllëg damaa resign 7 times Adama Barrow ñu ngi ko dinaay American visa deport nañ ko from Germany tey kuy président Gambia ñu yëpp His Excellency lañ ko wax ñu yëpp.
Thank you very much. Government spokesperson, Honorable Ibrahim Sankare, Honorable Minister for Information Communication Infrastructure, who is Ibrahim Sela, and of course Mr. Jah from the Foreign Affairs, Mr. Tangara from the Interior, and Gassama from the Immigration Commission responsible for migration. Gentlemen, thank you so very much for the time you have taken. I think the information have definitely filtered. Gambians who were in limbo will now definitely understand the process of this. You know, I hope you've enjoyed the program. Till I come here next week, the same time and of course the same place. My name is Bab Karsi. Bye for now.